All right, college football fans, week number 3 is upon us, and it's time to pick the winners from this week's games of teams ranked in the top 25. I'm going to start off with tonight's game. It's a nice Thursday night contest as number 4 West Virginia travels to Maryland. West Virginia looked sluggish last week against their interstate rival Marshall, and their defense is suspect. Maryland will face their first-ranked team of the year, a team they've developed a nice rivalry with. I think in the end, though, this is a matchup that West Virginia just has too much offensive firepower, and in the end, Slayton and White get the job done. I think the Mountaineers win this game by 17. Now let's move to Saturday. Citadel visits number 7 Wisconsin. Wisconsin struggled last week at UNLV, but I expect a better showing from the Badgers this weekend, and they'll have no trouble here. They win this game by 28. Buffalo visits number 12 Penn State. It's Buffalo, folks. No need to spend a lot of time on it. The Nittany Lions in a rout by 30. Furman travels to Clemson to face the 20th-ranked Tigers. Clemson has way too much here as well and takes this game easily. I like the Tigers by 27. 25th-ranked Georgia will try to regroup after suffering a home upset at the hands of South Carolina. They will get the perfect opponent in Western Carolina to take their frustrations out on as they bounce back here, defeating the Catamounts with ease. I like Georgia by 30 in this ballgame. Virginia Tech returns home after a beatdown in the Bayou at the hands of LSU. Virginia Tech's going to start a new freshman quarterback this week as Ohio University comes to town. This is a solid MAC team, and I think they're going to compete with a very, very down hokey team. Tech wins this game, but they have to win it with their defense. I think this game is close here, and Virginia Tech escapes by 8. Possible game of the week, it's in the SEC. 24th-ranked Tennessee visits the Swamp to take on 3rd-ranked Florida. The Gators will see what they have here, and Tebow will get his first major test of the year. I like Florida here due to them being at home, and Tennessee showed that they have some holes on defense as Cal blew through them, and Southern Mississippi was competitive until midway through the second half last week. But I do like Florida here. Remember, folks, this is a rivalry game, and I think Florida ekes this one out by 6 points at home. Number 6, Texas. Their struggles continued well into the second half last week in their home game against TCU. But they did get the ball rolling, and I expect them to keep it rolling now as they travel to Orlando to face the Central Florida Knights. Now, the Central Florida team is a team that did defeat NC State in Week 1, but I think that Texas has too much for the Knights to handle, and I think on the road, Texas gets the job done here. They win by 24. Norfolk State, they visit number 13, Rutgers. I think Rutgers runs away with this all day long. Look for Heisman hopeful Ray Rice to have a big game here. Rutgers easily by 30. And another possible good matchup this week, it's number 10, Ohio State, traveling to Seattle to face an upstart Washington Husky team. Washington's coming off their upset of Boise State. And at the start of the season, this was a no-brainer. OSU rolls over Washington, but not so fast. This is going to be a great game. Now, to this point, I think the Buckeyes have been very, very vanilla on offense. I don't think Jim Tressel's given the Huskies a lot to see on video. Ohio State's an offense that turned the ball over 5 times last week against Akron, but it was on a very, very wet and slick field. This week, they come to Seattle, open up the playbook, and they have a very talented defense. The young freshman Locker is going to be held in check. Washington's going to have a hard time scoring. I like Ohio State in this game. It's going to be in typical Jim Tressel fashion, but I like the Buckeyes to come out with a win by 9 on the road. Utah State's going to travel to Norman to face number 5 Oklahoma. Oklahoma is just going to keep their foot on the gas here, folks. They blew Miami of Florida off the field last week. This week they're going to pummel Utah State. I expect the Sooners to rack up 60 points en route to an easy victory. Number 11, UCLA travels to Utah. Utah is very, very injury-riddled, and I expect the Bruins to leave the Mountainous State with a big win by at least 21. Louisiana Tech travels to Berkeley to face number 8 California. Tech gave Hawaii everything they wanted this past week, and folks, they can put up some points. This game's going to be a shootout, but when it's over, California wins by 17 at home. Another SEC matchup to keep an eye on is number 16 Arkansas visiting Alabama. Saban and company get their first test of the early season. I like Arkansas in this game with McFadden and company getting through the Bama defense, but it's just enough to come away with a 7-point victory in Tuscaloosa. Louisiana Monroe visits Texas Station to face A&M this week. The number 18 Aggies was pushed to the brink last week by Fresno State, and they were lucky to escape with an overtime victory. A&M has no trouble here, though, folks. Aggies by 28. Number 9, Louisville in Kentucky is shaping up to be a basketball game, folks. Both teams can light up the scoreboard here. I think both teams can score in the 40s or 50s. Now we know Louisville can put up that many points, but their defense allowed Middle Tennessee State last week to put up 42. I like Louisville on the road here because of Brian Brome, but I think it's going to be fun. The Cardinals win this game by 10, 52-42. That's going to be a great game to watch. Game of the week candidate here is number 1 USC traveling to Lincoln for a showdown with the Huskers. Number 14 Nebraska was possibly looking past Wake Forest this past week and almost paid dearly for that. They'll be ready at home though, but I don't believe they'll be ready enough. USC offense will be too strong in the end, but this game's going to be close. I think USC receives a very, very good test, but in the end the Trojans win this game by 10. Middle Tennessee State, they're going to travel to number 2 LSU this week, and I can guarantee you that they will not score 42 on LSU like they did Louisville. LSU wins this one by 30, probably more, folks. Another night game set up to be a nice ACC matchup is number 19 Boston College heading to Atlanta to face number 15 Georgia Tech. Tech is looking good, but this is going to be a tough test for the Jackets this week. This game will be fun as well. I give the edge to Georgia Tech because of their strong defense and their rushing attack led by Tashard Choice. Tech squeaks out this victory over Boston College by 7. South Carolina State at number 23 South Carolina. The Gamecocks will be on upset alert fresh off of their victory in Athens, Georgia last week, but don't expect it to happen here. Superior keep things in check in Columbia, and the Gamecocks win by at least 20, probably more. Fresno State's going to get their second straight chance at a ranked opponent this week as they travel to Eugene to face number 21 Oregon, who is also coming off a big win in the Big House, just thrashing Michigan last week. I like the Ducks offense, but Fresno will be game here, and the Ducks win this one close, probably by a touchdown. I think this game could also go into overtime. They're going to push Oregon to the wall in this game. And to finish out the weekend, number 22 Hawaii visits UNLV. Hawaii squeaked by Louisiana Tech last week by 1 on the road, which again turned out to be a fun game to watch last week. UNLV is a team that had Wisconsin beat last week before a late Badger touchdown sealed the deal. Hawaii gets another test here, but offensively, just too many weapons. Colt Brennan and company return to the island with the win. I like Hawaii by 17 in this game. That'll do it for me, folks. I hope you enjoy the games this week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.